What's good? What's good, YouTube? It's your girl Nick. I decided to redo my my review or chat about P Valley season 2 episode 8, The Death Drop. So first of all, I was nervous from the title of the episode, The Death Drop, and then the little trailer they had put out at the beginning of last week. I mean, at the end of last week's episode about what was to come this episode. And then everybody kept focusing on that little scene where we see Pico homeboy with the bed. I call him Grimy Yo because he was the guy who turned Queen and Slim in the movie Queen and Slim. So because of that scene of him walking with the rifle, um, we didn't hear any words. We just see him and people running with the guns. So I was nervous, thinking like, oh my god, they're going to bum rush murder and shoot up, and somebody gonna get shot. And I was nervous that it was gonna be Lord Murder. Plus, I had been feeling like Pico was gonna have something to do with Lord Murder's demise because of that scene episode. Was that episode 1 of season 2 when Lord Murder came out? It was. He came out on the porch. He was standing on the porch because he was serving somebody, and they rode down the street in their blue and gold car. And the guy, that's why Lord Murder put his hand on his gun behind his back, because they in the opposite gang of Lord Murder, a rival gang of from the one that Lord Murder is in. So that moment right there made me feel like, oh Lord, Lord Murder gonna get murdered in season 2. That's what I was thinking. But then came this episode, and we got something else from Lord Murder. So the episode starts off with Mercedes. She's in the club, doing her thing, dancing like how she was dancing and controlling the pole, kind of like a little bit in season 1. But we see Mercedes has gotten rusty. She's still in her head about everything that happened on murder night and everything at the club. So she letting that get to her. We see her try to climb up to the top and do some stuff that she knows she can do, that she was doing like it was nothing in season 1, but she wasn't able to do it. And then she feels bad about it. She comes down and she sits down and she's being hard on herself, mentally beating herself up about why the hell she can't do what she knows she can do. And it's weird because when she was giving Coach and Farrah the Sadie's experience, she didn't seem to have no issues. She was out of her head. She was flowing real nice on there and doing her thing. Like, you could still see a twinge of pain in her shoulder when she gave them the Sadie's experience at the condo. But for the most part, she was still doing her thing or whatever. So I don't understand why her being actually inside the pink on the pole at the pink is giving her such a hard time. It's like a mental block. It is. It's not like it is a mental block. So we see that Uncle Clifford walks in and says to her, like trying to encourage her, and says to her that maybe the block is not was um in your what how she said the block not in your arm, it's in your head because you mentally blocked. And Mercedes flipped it back on Uncle Clifford and said, yeah, just like what's going on with this club is not out of your hands. Maybe it is something you can do to still like figure out something to get control back of your club, and the referendum and all that kind of stuff for them putting your club on auction block. Like, get out of your head and get it into your hands. Like, you can do this. You can fight Haley on this. So Clifford says that she's going to fight Haley, and as long as Mercedes is there, and Mercedes going to fight the mental block and get out of her head and become the headliner, because she tells Mercedes, you are the headliner for the grand reopening or whatever. Then we see the The theme music. Down in the valley where the girls get naked. If you throwing bands, then you know she gonna shake it. 1, 2, break 'em. 3, 4, rake 'em. These niggas grind hard, but these bitches grind harder. Climbing up the pole just to get out the bottom. And I always confuse the rest of the words, so that's how much I know of the theme song. But anyway, so when it comes back on, we flash back to on Clifford being in her house cutting Lord Murder hair. I said, well, look at that. Like, cutting designs, cutting his name into the back of his head. And we see Lord Murder's hair is all black now. I'm like, oh, wow, he surely did make it a point to get the Cisco look gone real quick, didn't he? So anyway, so they talking, and in the meantime, Uncle Clifford is on the phone with the hospital trying to get update on Grandma Ernestine. Um, her and her and Lord Murder kind of like have a conversation. Um, Murder refers him giving himself over to Clifford as a bottom, as it as him being vulnerable and giving himself over to try to get back in and resolve, start to work on the issues between them and resolve the issues or whatever. And little Uncle Clifford refers to it as a freaking olive branch. I said, what the freak? Like, this man, he gave you his booty. Like, do you know how vulnerable you gotta be to give up your booty? This man gave up his booty to you, and you just dismiss it and disregard it as a freaking olive branch like it wasn't nothing. And I was like, oh my God. So they kind of like go back and forth after that, and they talk about what each other was doing when they weren't around each other. And Uncle Clifford was like, so where you been? Like, basically she kept saying, where you been, where were you at? And when she said where were you at, it was more so who was you with. That's what she's really getting at. And so Lil Murder was just like, you know what, even if I was somewhere, I protected myself, I'm straight. What about you? Can you say the same? And Uncle Clifford was just looking like, I said, oh crap, because remember her birthday party. I don't know what all transpired in that in the skate rental booth, but we know that old boy went down on Uncle Clifford. So Uncle Clifford got a happy ending for her birthday, but we don't know what else transpired after that. So Uncle Clifford asked Murder what he was planning to do that day while he was getting crispy and clean, looking so fresh and so clean, basically. Uh, Lord Murder really didn't give Uncle Clifford an answer on to what he had planned for the day. And we see somebody finally come to the phone for Uncle Clifford. Uncle Clifford asks about Grandma Ernestine, and the person was like, listen, you just called 45 minutes ago. Nothing has changed, and I already told you every time you called that no news is good news. Like, we're going to call you if something serious changes or whatever. But for the meantime, like, stop calling, relax. And you can't relax. Like, just remember, I know I was in a dark space when, like, maybe a month and a half, 2 months into the panty. I got in a dark space. I got into a place. I'm just gonna give y'all some real tea. I got anxiety. Like, I already had anxiety, but I did not realize I had it. But when this whole thing started, that's when I realized I had anxiety. I got to a place I just wanted to be in my bubble, and my bubble was my bedroom. I didn't want my family because I live with other family members. So I didn't want them coming in my room because one, um, my job, I was working from home. All I had to do was go get a computer and hook it up to my Wi-Fi and do my work from home. So I had no reason to go outside. Whereas the people I live with, they had jobs that they still had to go and report to, and then one of them, both of them were still out here. One of them was out here going to parties. People was having hotel parties, Airbnb parties. They was at them, not wearing masks, all that, just being reckless. And crazy as it may seem, that person, as far as I know, and they've said it to me several times, this whole time they have not caught Miss Covina. Them or their bestie have caught Miss Covina this whole time. Meanwhile, I've caught it twice. Crazy, right? But anyway, so I understand the anxiety and the fear that's dwelling inside of Uncle Clifford about his her grandmother being in the hospital or whatever. Because it was like, you put your person in the ambulance and you don't see him anymore because a lot of them perished. You know what I mean? So that's super scary. So she hangs up the phone from the hospital or whatever. So we see Autumn Night sitting at the counter in a diner, and she's sitting there drinking some coffee. We see Keyshawn roll up in his cute little purple sweatsuit and sits next to her. And she tells Autumn, like, you got to make this quick because I don't have a lot of time. And she looks at the person behind the counter like, I'm here to pick up an order for Keyshawn. I forgot what the last name was. And so she passes Autumn Night some birth certificates for her and the kids. And Autumn tells her, no, she tells Autumn, you got to be quick with this. Get them back to me as soon as possible because I got to be able to put them back before he notices that they're missing. And so I'm like, cool. And she tells Keyshawn that she got an idea. She tells Keyshawn, I want you to come back and work at the Pink for the reopening or whatever, and you gonna get the money off the door. That's gonna be the money to help you get away from Derek for good. And so she like, okay, okay. And she tells Keyshawn tells her, no, she asks Keyshawn, did where did she plan to go when she leaves? And Keyshawn starts to tell her, and she said, wait, hold up. See, that's where you screwed up. You're not supposed to tell anybody where you plan to go, especially the person that helped you get there. Like, don't even tell me. Just make your exit and go wherever it is you choose to go, but don't tell nobody where you going. So Keyshawn like, okay, and then she turns to leave. She gets her food and she's turning to leave, and before she leaves, she said, she told Autumn that the diner that they were sitting in was Taffy's, and that was the first place that was the place that her and Dirk had their kind of sort of first date. And we go back to that fairy tale episode when they was in there and everybody was and he was eating the bacon fries and all that kind of stuff. So Autumn tells her, well, even back then, I bet you could never imagine that the person you sat down with that day would become the person that he is today. She said, no, I wouldn't. And then looked at her and she told her, and I just want to let you know, I looked up Haley Colton. It said she drowned, and Autumn looked at her and said, yeah, she did, and she's also sitting right here, right in front of you, telling you her story and helping you to get away. So I said, okay, so you faked your death, and that's why you took on the name Lakeisha Savage, and you tell people your name Autumn Sky, because I'm believing Autumn was her daughter's name. Autumn Sky was her daughter's name, I believe, that passed away. But or one of those names was her daughter's name, I'm guessing, and she not giving the whole name so that people won't look it up or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because she don't want to be traced back to the whole floods and all that kind of stuff and be found out by Montavious crew, the Doves. That's what their names are, the Doves. So Keyshawn makes her way out of there. Then we see Keyshawn in the house. She is, I don't know how I got this freaking bruise on my arm right here. It's been there for like a week now. But anyway, Keyshawn in the house, she doing dishes. It's the same day. She in the same outfit. Derek walks in. Derek looked like he didn't got his hair colored. He got a haircut too. He cut it off somewhat. And I said, oh, he cut it off and trying to groom himself. They grooming him right now to look more like Prince Charming. He comes in with a bag. It's a clear bag with a brown box. He tells Keyshawn he bought her something. He pulls the chair out, tells her to sit down, open it. She opens it and he takes it, and it's a shoe, a Louboutin shoe. And he goes to try to put it on her foot. The shoe doesn't fit. So the way I took it was, we got Keyshawn's backstory, and the way they gave it to us was like a Cinderella story. The story of Cinderella, a fairy tale. Derek comes in looking like a cleaned up crazy man, supposed to be the Prince Charming, gives her her glass slipper, but it doesn't fit anymore. She tells him after it don't fit. He said, "But I bought the right size." She said, "No. After 2 kids, your foot spreads." And that symbolizes the glass slipper does not fit anymore. The fairy tale is freaking over. And she's over it, the whole situation. And you can see it in her face that she's over it. The whole thing, the cycle of abuse, the whole relationship, everything. She is over it. She's ready to get out. She's made up her mind. That's how I took it. So, the glass, like I said, the glass slipper don't fit anymore. She stands up, and he's begging and pleading. He kind of like get a sense that it is about to be over, and he got a sense that Keyshawn is over him. So he's like, "Well, what can I do? I can fix the room up so you can continue to dance on camera on your OnlyFans." She said, "That's not what I want, Dad." He um he said, "I'll buy you a new car." Whole time, how you buying her a new car? You can't even get a job. So she's buying herself a new car. He said, "I could buy you that." She said, "Derek, what I want cannot be bought." So he said, "What you want to dance? What you want to go on tour? You want to go dance on tour?" She said, "I don't want to go on tour and dance." And he said, "What you want to go back to the Pink? That place is dangerous. Bad things happen there." And she said, "I want to go there because that's the only place I feel free." I said, "Fuck." When the Pink is the one place you feel free. And I know why it's the one place she feels free. Because one, Uncle Clifford always treated her like family. Like they were a family amongst each other. Friendly. Like they was her friends, but they was her family because she basically, it seems to me, she's lost touch with her father. Where's her mother? They never say anything really about her mother. We don't get a backstory that includes her mother. Just the fact that the father left the mother to be with the new woman, and he's also cheating on the new woman and molesting her daughter and all that. Remember that from her fairy tale story. So after that, we see murder. Murder goes over to the funeral home with Wody. Teek's dead land on the table. Wody done did like the embalming, and Murder goes over there to bring the outfit that he want Teek to be buried in. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I could have sworn in last week's episode when Murder and Wody was talking, Wody told Murder that Murder got rid of the gun. Wody had the body. I could have sworn Wody had said that he buried Teek in a pauper's grave already. But then someone reminded me that no, yeah, he said he was going to do that, but Murder said he wanted to give him a good homegoing service or whatever. So that's why he didn't bury him. So they planned the funeral and all that kind of stuff to give Teek. So we see the bullet wound inside of Teek's head. And I'm just like, damn, Teek, I'm grateful for the show bringing light to mental illness in the black community and how a lot of people dismiss it, brush it under the rug, or just don't see it and think that smoking it away, drinking it away, partying it up, or showing somebody a new way as far as like getting away, like running from it, basically. Go on tour and do this, and you won't have to think about your issues, but the issues are within you and they're going to travel with you wherever you go. So if you're already feeling like you're in a dark place on the inside, no matter where you go, it's going to be a dark place. And Teek needed professional therapy services. He didn't need just keep giving him materialistic things and stuff, thinking that was going to satisfy or help him get out of that hole, that dark hole or whatever in his mind. So, um, Murder asks Wody like, well, it's effed up what Teek did to himself, and he said, but that thing was wrong. Like, who gave you the right to play God? And Wody tells him, That nigga was a rapist. And not only that, he told Key that he had video of you. And I did what I had to do to protect you. So Murder like, protect me? Like, video? What are you talking about? And Woody said, nigga, he showed and played Keyshawn a video. So me personally, I was thinking when that part happened, I thought that maybe Rome had set up cameras in one of them rooms and recorded murder murder and Teak, and that's what he showed Keyshawn. But Murder came out and said, when Morty said, "Nigga, is that a video of you going around be up front? I got your back." And Murder says, "Nigga, I was 15 and I did what I had to do to fill my belly. My mom had all these bills coming in, and we couldn't keep the lights on. It was just like a lot of shit going on, and the nigga was hungry, and I did what I had to do to help my mom and keep some food in my stomach." So I was like, fuck, he was out here 15 doing sex work. Now, he didn't say exactly what he was doing in the video, whether he was giving somebody head or somebody was, what they call it? If somebody was busting him down or he was busting somebody else down. But the video was him as a kid. And I said, freak, who made that video? Who would have a video like that? And how did fucking Rome get it, right? I like, fuck. So, after that, Murray said, and can't nobody judge me. And Wardy was like, nigga, I'm not going to judge you. We all did what we have to do. But to be honest, we all play God sometimes, and we all also can be the devil at times. He said, Teak died. Teak taking his own life brings another baby in this world. But niggas like Rome die every day. And they need to, and they ain't bringing no good in the world. They needed to be gone. Or whatever. So Murder was like, you know what? You always taking care of things. You always taking care of me. And he just looked and he was just like, well, I'm to be the one to make it. And Woody was like, one of us got to make it up out this. One of us got to make it up out the mud. Because one thing, Woody always going to have a job. People die all the time for different reasons. So Woody already got a way to make it. Lord Murder is really coming up out the mud and trying to get up out. Like, he don't, like, music is his way. You know what I'm saying? So that's why Woody sacrificed and do what he do to keep Murder on the up and up and keep him protected or whatever. So I really did like this conversation. This was like one of the best conversations of this whole episode between them two or whatever. So Murder shows Woody the outfit or whatever, and he gets ready to leave Woody to finish up getting Teak together and all that kind of stuff for the funeral. Then we see the actual funeral, and remember, the gang that Murder and Teak and Woody not in any gang. He don't have no gang affiliation. The gang that they are in, they wear Gucci colors, green, white, and red. And we see them put Teak body in the hearse, and we see some girl falling all over the casket crying as they taking the casket to the hearse to put it in. And I was watching J. Alphonse, who plays Murder. I was watching his Instagram live yesterday, and he was talking about a lot of stuff. And he was talking about the lady who directed this episode, and she also directed episode 3 in season 1. The time she did season 1 episode 3, that was around the time John Singleton had died. So she put like little things, little Easter eggs inside the episode as a homage to John Singleton. And he said that around the time that they filmed this episode is when young Dolph was murdered. And so she had put some stuff to pay homage to young Dolph in this episode. And if you saw it, he was saying the first one to screenshot the scene where you see the Easter egg and send it to him, like DM it to him, that he was going make sure you get some kind of little package or whatever, or something like that. That's what he was saying on his Instagram live yesterday. But anyway, I was thinking that maybe the thing was one of the guys who played, who was a pallbearer and part of the gang. He had these real nice, like, look like the old school gazelle type glasses or whatever that people used to wear back in the day, like Run DMC, and he had locks. I was like, is that person related to Young Dolph? Is one of the songs that's playing in its episode, is that Young Dolph song? Like, I don't know, because I mean, I remember when he got murdered, I had heard of him as a rapper, but I've never listened to any of his music, so I wouldn't know it when I heard it or whatever. And I heard that he was a good father. He was a great father to his children. Um, and people really liked him, but I don't know why somebody would want to kill him or shoot him up like that or whatever. Who knows? But I'm not gonna speculate because I don't know. But anyway, they walked the body to they walked the casket to the hearse. They pull it out when they get to the grave site. Lord Murder leans over the casket and kisses it or whatever, and comes out when they actually have the funeral service. You see Lil Murder, he got his all black on. Teak got on a green sweatsuit in a casket. Lil Murder rolled him a blunt. He said, I rolled this last one and wrote you around just in case it's a dark space you get into down there. Something to bring you out. Because remember, Teak said when he got to that dark place when he was in the hole, it was Murder's rhymes that he wrote on the toilet paper that pulled him out, right? So he puts that in his hand. He put the blunt in his hand, and he lays a chain across them. And this is something I've never seen. And so then, like, all the other homeboys, they come up, they all laying different chains across Teak body or whatever. So they have the funeral service, and when that's over, I'm guessing it's going to be the repast or whatever. Murder is outside, and some older guys from the gang call Murder over. Well, one, like two older guys and one younger one, and they show Murder this video. It's Pico in the video talking about, yeah, that nigga was popping all that shit. We popped that nigga, blue gold, blue gold, blue gold, or whatever for the gang that he in. And so the older guy tells Murder, like, look at this flip flopping ass bitch, like, out there saying that he killed T. And from what I heard, some niggas ran up on him because they wanted his car. They said they saw a nigga lurking around the car or whatever, and that's why he got killed. And so the younger guy was getting ready to say what he thought it was or what he had heard in the streets. And the older guy told him to shut up, Murder got this. So Murder said, all right, bet. So when he looked at it, I said, oh shit. I said to myself, because I forgot to mention when him and Woody was talking earlier at the funeral home, Murder said, how do you know that Rome didn't send that video to Pico? And they both said, Rome said, we don't know. So that right there, and then this right here solidifies what Lil Murder felt like he got to do. He got to take care of Pico. So we see Mercedes reminiscent of season 1 again, jogging down the street, and it cracked me up that the dog's name is fucking Black and Mild. Lord, I remember my little sister. Quick little story. My little sister, she had went in my middle sister's closet one time, right? And my middle sister had some old Black and Milds in there. I don't know what my sister was going through something, I guess, and she was smoking it with her friends. And I think at this time I probably was in my early 20s, which means my middle sister probably was like 20, 21, and my little sister might have been maybe 11 or 12, right? Yeah, she was in middle school. So she found those Black and Milds in my sister's closet or even her drawer. They was old and stale because they had been in there forever. And she had she took one out and tried to smoke it. And I don't know how the fuck my mother found out that my sister did this. But when she found out, she took them and told my little sister, oh, you think you want to smoke? And she told my little sister she was going to make her smoke that whole pack of Black and Milds. And she was crying like, no, Ma, no, no, no. and all this other stuff. And I wasn't there because I was by this time I wasn't living at home anymore. I had moved out, got my own place or whatever. But that just took me back. The name Black and Mild. Oh, Lord have mercy. I remember that. My mother had my sister shook. Okay, it is crazy. This my sister still don't. Even with her smoking cigarettes and smoking weed, I've never seen her smoke a Black and Mild ever. Oh my god. But anyway, back to the story. So we see Mercedes running down the street with the dog like she did in season one. And it's all these guys outside and they kinda like move out the way. The dog smells something familiar and runs toward it. And it's Maine sitting on a fucking motorcycle. I'm like, with his blue and gold scarf around his fucking neck. I said, oh shit, he part of that gang. So he in the gang with Pico. So that's why in season one, he acted the way he acted towards Lord Murder because they in rival gangs with each other. And when Lord Murder came up to say something to Mercedes when she was in main section, he said, who the fuck is you? These little niggas don't have no respect. Remember that in season one? And them two almost got into it. And then when Murder went back to go sit down next to Pico, Pico said, I heard you everybody, bitch. And that's when Lord Murder beat the brakes off of Pico in the club and he got put out the club, and him and Pico wasn't friends after that. That's when Pico left and flip flopped and went over to the other side. We all know in real life nothing like that will happen. I'm not in a gang. I don't know all the stuff about a gang, but I think I think I know for sure that you can't just up and leave one gang and go join the fucking other gang. I don't think you can do that. I don't believe you can do that. But in TV land, they can. So anyway, um, I remember it because Maine was like, nigga, come up in here, don't even know how to dress, rocking criminal colors. And Lord Murder was like, nigga, I was rocking Gucci. Fuck you talking about? That was like one of my favorite lines of season one. It was hilarious. But anyway, Mercedes goes up to him like, man, when you get out? So he let her know he got out just that morning with the pandemic and the Rona and everything. They let a lot of people go home, go free. So they let him out. And he said something about her last dance. And she was saying, like, man, Rona set you free, and the Rona effed up the money for us because the pink been shut down. But we having a reopening coming up. He like, all right. He said, well, since I'm out, the boys giving me a block party to celebrate me coming out. The block party tomorrow night. You think you can come? I want you to come as my date. And she said, I'll see if I can move some things around. And he was like, yeah, I love the way you move your thing around. I said, ooh, yes. Mercedes, get that. You told Autumn in episode 1 of season 2 that you was going to give it to Maine when Maine get out of jail. So I hope you do get it. I hope you get it. And get it good. For all of us that's lusted over Thomas Jones, who plays the character Maine. Okay? So she turns around, she runs off and runs across the street to her house. And at this moment, I noticed Mercedes' hair is black with some blue in it. And then she always had that yellow fucking car. So is Mercedes in the gang too? Is Mercedes in the gang that Maine and all of them are in? Or she was once in it and she just older now and she don't participate in nothing no more. But was she in it at some point? Because she got the blue hair and the yellow car. So anyway, we see Mercedes in the club. She practicing. Whisper and Roulette sitting off to the side looking. And they laughing because Mercedes, like, she ain't got it no more, y'all. Right now, she ain't got it. She too in her head. She just ain't got it right now. And she trying, but it's just not. It ain't working. So, like I said, Roulette and Whisper sitting off to the side. Mercedes is on the stage. We see Big Bone and Diamond over in the DJ booth, and Uncle Clifford and Big L sitting at a table. And here come Haley walking in. Haley sees Mercedes and is like, mm. And Clifford says she gonna be the headliner. And Haley is like, she ain't ready. And Clifford says she is ready. And Haley was like, Big Bone, throw on something, anything, so she could freestyle. And Clifford did like this with her nails, the motion Mercedes, do your shit. Lord have mercy. Yeah, Mercedes did her shit all right. It was good, y'all. It was not good. Mm-mm. It wasn't good. And as Roulette and Whisper look on, Roulette putting the bug in Whisper ear like, look at her. Ain't nothing worse than a bitch up there past her prime. She's sitting up there looking like a 2001 Mercedes with no AC. And she said, see, Whisper, stick with me. She said, you can, won't you come up off that thing and do this little trick real quick with my homeboy or the guy that want to pay you just to lay on your back. And Whisper said, okay, I'm thinking about it. She said, because ain't no, you got to find other streams of income because we're not going to be able to do this forever. As evidenced by Mercedes. We don't want to be the old bitch at the club still trying to make it do. I mean, Mercedes was throwing that head back, doing that little move she do, clapping her legs like this. But it was just looking all sloppy. She was kicking shit over and everything. It was just not, it wasn't good. So Whisper agrees to do what the guy wanted ex Roulette to ex Whisper to do, which is lay there and let him give her face in the place. He can go downtown on her for 2 stacks. So when Clifford see Mercedes not doing good, Clifford say, stop, cut the music, cut the damn music, Big Bone. And so he was like, she gonna get it together, she gonna be ready. And Haley was like, she not gonna be the headliner, we need a headliner. And Mercedes looked at, she said, I know the fuck you ain't gonna say them two gonna be the headliners. Talking about Whisper and Roulette. Haley like, no. And in walks Keyshawn, and she like, hey. And when she say, hey, Sadie's looking like, Uncle Clifford turned around and looked like, I know this bitch didn't darken my door. And Diamond standing over there looking shook like, I said, she come in looking real timid. And Roulette and Whisper like, bitch. And Roulette like, yo, this about to be good. And they show them backstage in the dressing room. Is Keyshawn, Roulette, and Whisper in the dressing room. Roulette and Whisper is gushing over Keyshawn. Talking about, we wear your lashes. You the reason I learned this move and got up out of such and such or whatever. Like, Keyshawn is kind of like a local celebrity at this point. And they gushing over her. They giving her all her props or whatever, her accolades. And in this moment, I realized Keyshawn is so beautiful. And the only problematic thing about her is the fact that how we feel as far as her character, she didn't let Diamond kill Dirk when he had the chance. And it's because she's still in love with Derek and he is the father of her kids. And I do think that what she told Diamond was the truth, that she didn't want him to have that body on his conscience. Like, she didn't want to add to all the trauma and stuff that he didn't see when he was in the war and all that kind of stuff like that. Or whatever. She didn't want him to have that karma and that all that. So that's her only bad thing, because we know she bougie, and that's because of her upbringing, the way she was raised or whatever, but she's also a victim of domestic violence. So the way they operate in their daily life, but she still didn't do, I feel like she never did anything to be sneaky or harm anybody like that her whole time working at the Pink in season 1. So, excuse me. So Uncle Clifford and Haley, they in the office arguing like loud. And so Keyshawn asks Whisper and Roulette like, this happen all the time? And so they like, yeah, every day. That's when Keyshawn turns around and Sadie's then walked into the dressing room. And she looked at Keyshawn and she spoke to her. Keyshawn said, is my locker still over there? And she like, bitch. This is Mercedes. Bitch, it's your locker. I know you ain't got the nerve to ask it. Then she just softened up and was like, it's still there. And your vanity is too. Nobody ever touched it. We didn't bother it or do nothing to your vanity or whatever. And so Keyshawn goes over and looks and then sits at her vanity. Mercedes sits at hers. And Mercedes just say over her shoulder, I'm guessing if you bag her, then it's because you had to come back. And so Keyshawn, you ain't had no other choice. And Keyshawn was like, yeah, I ain't have no other choice. And Mercedes said something like, it's no place like home, or this home is where the heart is. Something she said, or whatever, referring to the club as being their home. And we see Uncle Clifford come marching out of the office with a box of stuff and said, I'm taking my shit with me because ain't no way I'm gonna let you keep my club up on the auction block and keep my block and put my personal items up on the auction block too. Haley Coat. And she also says that if she could take the jukebox, if she had space in the car for the jukebox, she'd take her jukebox too. So she stomps out the door and gets in her car, throw the stuff in the car, and like hits the dashboard and puts her head down on the steering wheel and starts to like scream and just upset about the fact that Haley is still adamant about selling the pink. When she looks behind it, she hears a voice and she looks behind it. It's her mom. She sees her mom's spirit sitting in the back seat. And her mother tells her, I know you ain't crying. It ain't no crying in the pink. And remember, I always taught you that when somebody come at you, you figure out a way to get one up on their ass, come back at them harder, and get their asses back. And so with that, Uncle Clifford gets a new resolve and like, yeah, I'm going to do this. She also tries to call the hospital again and not getting an answer. So still no word on what's going on with Mama Ernestine. So we see that a commercial comes on the TV. The commercial comes on painting Andre as a liar and a crook. Like, he lied to y'all. He's the product of a drug addicted mother who died, and a father. He told y'all his father died, but his father not dead. His father is in jail doing life. He on death row for murder. How can you trust him as a politician if his father is on death row for murder and he didn't complain about that? He lied about it. Then also a commercial comes on about Patrice Woodbine, and it has like it has the look of a mugshot, and it's all these different pictures of her from mugshots at different times of her life, saying that she was a whore. She was out here selling butt and doing all kinds of things. And how can you look at her as a respectable person in the community and give her the mayor's office? Like, how can you vote for her for mayor? And she used to be a prostitute and a pimp and all this other stuff. So then they had somebody, the press had went up to her and questioned her about hers in her commercial, and she owned that shit. She said, listen, I did a lot of things with my mouth. I sucked a lot of dick. I did this, I did that, and I got up off my knees. She said, but the reason that's why I'm running for mayor of Chucalissa, because I know what it's like to be poor and come from nothing and do what you got to do to get up out the mud. Because Chucalissa don't give nobody like me, poor people, they don't give us a chance to get out the mud. So I had to do what I had to do to get up out of the mud. And now I'm a pastor in the church, I'm a minister, and I bring people to God. I was out here hoeing so you could fly. I said, this bitch, that fucking Patrice Woodbine, yo. She is something else. So, after that, we see Corbin and Andre is at Andre headquarters, which is Tydell's old house. They've seen the commercials. And Corbin fussing at Andre, like, see that? I asked you to give me everything. Like, tell me everything before I put all my money behind you and you failed to mention that your daddy on death row. He said, who want to tell the truth about their daddy? You got secrets about who your father is. You ain't telling nobody about who your father is. And Corbin was like, I can put it on a fucking t-shirt if I want, because I'm the one who paid for the t-shirts for your campaign. I'm the one backing this fucking campaign. You got to tell me everything. Don't keep no secrets. And Andre was just looking. So Corbin gets mad and he decides to leave. Before he left, though, he told Andre, "Look at that." And Patrice, she owned hers, and she did. She owned her past, and she also flipped it on the city of Chucalissa, or the politicians of Chucalissa. Chucalissa. It was just like, I'm a product of where I come from, and the fact and the laws that y'all make, they keep us down in the gutter. And I did what I had to do to get up out the gutter, basically. So Corbin gets an idea. He runs over there to his brother, who's the interim mayor right now, and that's Wayne Kyle. He said, Wayne, like, you keep kicking me when I'm down. You got me and I'm backing Andre, and you got Patrice Woodbine. Like, you mudslinging against both of them. And he said, how would you like it if somebody put the dirty secrets about our father on blast, about your past, and about me, the little secret kid that he had, or whatever. And so Wayne basically dismisses Corbin, and told him, you always gonna be the dirty little secret. No amount of money can buy you the thing that you really want. And what is that? He want to be seen as white. He want to be accepted, just like his brothers are accepted and able to say who their father is and all that. But he can never. So with that last little word, Wayne leaves the office. We see Haley go and go to this salon, and the lady she had met at the fundraiser that Andre had, she was at the salon. So she was going to meet her to negotiate this deal again. And she walks in, and the lady, the beautician that's doing the lady Georgie's hair, the beautician looks at Autumn and says, I'm sorry, you got the wrong salon. Shanae's hair salon is down in the South End. I said, you racist little bitch. So you've been watching Martin episodes to know the name Shanae and everything. That's prime proof positive, not prime. Proof positive. That when you think they laughing with us, they be really laughing at us. Because she's sitting there watching Martin. Because she know the name Shanae. But she used it to be racist towards towards Autumn. So Georgie tells the lady, let me and my gal pal here have a conversation in peace. Won't you and your little shampoo girl go on somewhere, go take a smoke, go take a break, and let us have a conversation real quick. So she leaves the room, and so she says, so you ready to sign on the dotted line? Oh, I'm like, no, because I want $10 million. Georgie says, girl, I'm offering you $5 million, and that's what it's going to be. With this little commercial that just came out, Patrice Woodbine, she ain't going to win the race. And then the pink going to be right back on the auction block. And why wait to only get $1 when you can get the $5 million right now? And Autumn is not scared. She like, listen, I'm not taking it. I told you 10 mil. And when Autumn told Uncle Clifford that she was going to get 10, that they was offering 5 mil and she trying to get 10, I thought, when she said that to Uncle Clifford last week when they was having that argument and that conversation, I thought she was scamming him, because I thought the lady did tell her she can get $10 million when they was at the when they was in the smokers room at the fundraiser, but she really did only say $5 million, as evidenced by this conversation right here. So the lady real slick what I told her, you know, you are very beautiful and very smart, and you know your worth, and that's dangerous. But what's even more dangerous is when you don't realize that your beauty is fading and your worth is waning. meaning that you still putting this club on a high pedestal and you think you're gonna get all this money. But with the way the election might go, with the things that's coming out now, with the mudslinging by Wayne, you might not get this money. Because they thinking that Patrice gonna lose the referendum, and she even refers to Patrice, and because she said, "Because we're gonna get our casino," just like the Reverend Miss Patrice said with the casino. Like she was making fun of the way that Patrice said the word casino, like another racist joke or whatever. She tried to talk with the black dialect or whatever. So Autumn was like, "Okay, well, I guess I just see you at the polls." And she walked out because she told Autumn, "This is my last and final offer, $5 million." Autumn said, "That's okay. I see you at the polls." She walks on out the door. We see Patrice is doing a freaking sermon like most of the pastors was doing around this time at the beginning of the pandemic. People are online, doing cash apps and whatever, doing their offerings online, while she got the ring light up there and she preaching in front of from the pulpit and recording it, going like live streaming her sermon. Ooh, what is that on my fingernail? Sorry. So she's live streaming her sermon. You see the money coming in. She got the one girl that must be doing must be her assistant or whatever. The girl is looking at the money coming in. Girl, as it's flashing up, we see somebody give a quarter. A whole, you took the time to offer this woman a freaking quarter. 25 cents. Was it 25 cents or 10 cents? One of the two. You really took the time to type that in? I hope that was a kid that did that. Next thing you hear, ching ching. Somebody sent 10 stacks, $10,000. And the lady excited like, ooh, somebody just sent $10,000. So Patrice turned around and looks at the monitor and sees it. And she like, wow. And the lady said, oh, it comes with a note. The note said, cash me outside. I said, okay. And it said it was from Brer Rabbit. So I'm guessing Patrice realized who that was, and it was actually Corbin. Corbin meets her in like an alleyway behind some buildings and was like, yeah, I want you to drop out the race because y'all right now, you and Andre splitting the vote. And we need the best person to go up against Wayne or shut Wayne down. And I'm thinking it could be Andre. And you can get your people to back him or whatever. He said, but I gave you the 10 stacks so you can, drop out the race. Patrice said, I feel like God himself told me that I needs to do this to help my people and Chuckalisa out, to help us get the heathens and the demons out of Chuckalisa and help out the poor black people. He pulls out another envelope with stacks of money and he said, here, you take that while you sit a spell and think on dropping out of the race. So she take the money and walks off. And the reason he decided to give her the money is because when Uncle Clifford was sitting in the car and he saw his mother, and the mother said, you gotta come back hard and get people back for what they do to you. He went over to Corbin's in his car and they back out there in front of the cotton fields. Corbin trying to get the irrigation system to work and it wasn't working. And Clifford came over there and had a conversation with him and told him, ever since we was kids, your father used to give you little gifts to try to make up for the fact that he wasn't there and you was his little secret. And you would take all my Barbies and my Ken dolls and take their damn heads off. Remember that when we was growing up? And he said, yeah, I was trying to play doctor. And Clifford was like, yeah, whatever, but I always had your back then, but then you sold me up the river and you trying to put my club on the auction block. And he said, I got a piece of advice for you. Because Corbin came out and said, well, Clifford, that's just business. That's not pleasure. Like, that's just business. The casino is business. And Clifford said, I don't care. Like, that's my club and it's my friend. You should have my back, not be going up against me, trying to take my club away from me to get a damn casino or whatever. So Corbin says, basically, like, you know how hard it is to live with this skin and everybody judging you, and to live like this and everybody judging you because they are basically, it's a secret, but it's not a secret. Everybody know that he is the child of this white man or whatever, and they just don't speak on it or acknowledge it. And Clifford said, like, looked at him with, do you have the audacity to ask me about what it's like to live in this skin? I'm a fucking big ass black gay man that wear wigs and nails and makeup with a full beard on. Really? So he said that to him. He didn't say all of that. He just said, look at me in the skin I'm in. You think I don't know what that's like? He said, but I just want to let you know. Sometimes, first he told him, because Patrice is about, she speak Benjamins, meaning she want money. And then he also said, and remember, he said, Grandma gave me one last rule, 7,000 something something before she got in that ambulance and went to the hospital. If you can't make it to the water, bring the water to you. And as soon as he said that little piece, the fucking irrigation system turned on, water sprouting everywhere. So that's what made Corbin go and try to pay Patrice to drop out of the race. So after that, we see they back at the club. Mercedes and Keyshawn practicing. And did I ever say that when Derek was having that conversation with Keyshawn and she said she wanted to go back to the club and dance, he he okayed it and she got this smile on her face because I felt like she was smiling like that. Because like I said, that's the place she felt free, but also in her mind, my plan and my way to get away from him is all coming together. I just wanted to say that. But anyway, they in the club. It's Mercedes and Keyshawn on the stage. Mercedes twitched to the front doing her little walk she do. And she gets to the pole first, and you can see Keyshawn put her hand up like she was going to go for the pole. But Mercedes grabbed it first, walked around and doing whatever she doing. And Keyshawn was just like, and Mercedes still look a fucking mess. It's just not. She can't. She can't get it together to save her life, y'all. She just can't. So, Uncle Clifford also takes the time to tell Big Al. I don't think it was this scene in particular, but she also tells Big Al, we could have had more people packed in this club if you would get up on the damn the inspector, the way push up on her, the way you was trying to push up on Big Bone, because you didn't lost your chance with Big Bone, because Big Bone over there with Diamond. That was in the first scene when Keyshawn first came to the club. It was because she said she looked at Diamond. She said, "Look at him. I ain't never seen him smile this much in my life. I ain't even know he had a pretty smile like he do. Look at him smiling." But I wonder where the inspector is. Because she's even though they got all that stuff done, she was saying that the club can only be at half capacity. But the following Keyshawn got, they gonna need to open it up to full capacity in there because Keyshawn gonna bring the people in. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, Mercedes effing up some more, and then we hear that silly old ringtone that she got for Terica, and she answers, and she rush home. We see her. Shell then drove over there half drunk. Mercedes said, I still smell the liquor on you. And Shell fussing. My 14-year-old child that had a fucking abortion and went to Jackson, had a whole abortion without a guardian's consent. The hell you doing, Mercedes? You could find time to get up off that pole, such and such. And Mercedes said, hold up, Shell. The fact that I was the one that she came to, what did that like basically, what does that say about you? Why do you think she came to me? So Shell tried to tear her down some more about being a stripper. She said, no, we ain't playing them elementary games back and forth with that. Why do you think she came to me instead of coming to you? And so she said, you over there smelling like a brewery, drinking bottles of liquor every night. You passed out on the couch. She didn't think that she could depend on you. And she said all her and Shell tells Mercedes, all her 14 years, you did one thing for her. All her 14 years. You and your family, y'all used to throwing away and getting rid of y'all problems. But in my house, we raised to own up to them. So basically, I'm thinking that Shell was not going to let Turka get that abortion. She was going to make Turka have that baby and give it up for adoption or something to that effect, I guess. But Mercedes was like, she came to me and not to you. And Turka sitting there just looking back and forth, feeling trapped in the middle. And to stop it, she just says, you know what, mama? And he turned to her and say, what? And Shell like, she talking to me, not you. Or whatever. And Turka said, come on, mama, let's just go home. And Sadie's like, no, you can go back there in your room, baby. And Turka was like, no, I'm going to go drive Shell home. Come on. I'm going to drive my mama home. And Mercedes look at her with like pleading eyes like, damn, I lost my chance. Like, I thought we had got somewhere. And I thought you was going to stay here with me. But Turka was like, I can drive her home. Sadie's like, I can call y'all Uber because she drinking. And she was like, I'm real sober right now since I found out she had an abortion. Or whatever. And Turka was like, no, I got it. I can drive her home because you taught me, remember? So that was her way of letting Mercedes know that I appreciate what you did for me because you was there for me. And Mercedes said it to Shell, yeah, you say I haven't been there for her 14 years, but for the most important moment of her life thus far, I was there. And I was the one she came to. So Terica looks at Mercedes pleadingly as she goes out the door with Shell. Meanwhile, we see Pico in a convenience store. And they playing some song. And I said, uh-oh, this is going to be it. He come out the store. He walking down the street. He cut through a field. And it's a field with, like, piles of garbage and junk and all kind of things. And it's surrounded by the projects, obviously. He walked through this field by himself when you don't see nobody around. And he pauses and put the bags down because his phone rings. He picks up the phone. It's one of his kids on the phone. And he said, I thought I told you to get ready for bed. You're supposed to be in bed. And so he says what he needs to say to the kid. And when he goes to hang up, he hangs up the phone. Murder come out the dark and says something to Pico. And when he walked up on him, and Pico saw who it was, now he wants to plead. Oh, oh my God, like my boys was the crew, the homies was getting on me about getting my ass whooped by Teak down in Memphis. So I just made that little video to make it seem like it was me who shot him, but I really didn't kill Teak. I don't know who killed him. I don't think nobody in the gang killed him. Like, I'm sorry, man. Like, don't do this, because by this time, Murder got an assault rifle in his hand. And Tika's like, come on, man, we grew up together. You know my mama. Man, I got a baby on the way. I got my 6-year-old. And he said, yeah, that's right, Tyson. Murder said, yeah, that's right, Tyson. He said, yeah, my little boy Tyson, man, come on. For my little boy. Like, don't do this, man. Murder looked at him and said, you know what? I'm going to do you one better. I'm going to tell Tyson his daddy loved him. And he shot the shit up out of Pico ass. And I was just like, yeah, because you had to. So now we know why they call Lord Murder. Like, he stand by that name. The name ain't for the fake. It's for real. It's not for play. And I don't think this is the first time Lord Murder had to kill somebody either, if you want to be honest about it. I think he knows what it's like to have to murder somebody and carry that on your spirit. So he tried to chill and just do his music and trying to get up out the dark spots and everything like that. So, because we still don't know. Did we ever find out what exactly Lord Murder was in jail for when he was in there when he first met Teak? But anyway, he does that and he just walks off casually. You see some people run over there to Pico or whatever. In the meantime, and then did you peep? Lord Murder had on blue, so they gonna automatically think that somebody else from the gang flipped on Pico and killed him. They ain't gonna. I don't think they're gonna suspect this little murder because number one, he don't have his. Remember he be wearing blonde or white hair with the red streak and all that shit like that in there, right? Remember? All right. And his hair back to black. He had blue hoodie on. He had the hood over his head. He had a blue bandana around his head. All that kind of shit to try to play it off so they can think that it was somebody from within the gang that did this to Pico or whatever. And Mercedes is driving home from somewhere, and all these people in front of her. It's the block parties going on. So Mercedes pulls up. Maine comes out hollers and tells everybody get out the fucking way so she can get to her driveway. So she gets to her driveway. She gets out. She sees Maine and walks up to him. And as she walking up to him, that's when Grimy Yo, the scene with Grimy Yo with his rifle. He like, yo, they just clipped Pico. So they all running off to go do that, and Maine turned like, let me go handle it. She like, no, you just got out this morning, and you still got that damn ankle monitor on. Let them niggas that ain't got to worry about ankle monitor and all that kind of stuff, they ain't got them worries. Let them go handle that. You just fresh out like yesterday or this morning or something like that. Let them go do that. So he decides to let them go, and then we see him and her sitting on her porch talking. So she playing some music. She sprayed him down with some bug spray so he won't get ate up. And she just get this look in her eyes, and he just looked at it. He like, "What's up? You want to talk about it?" And she tells him she went into his room, and she went into a room, and she knew that only three of them was going to walk out that room alive that night. How do you get? She basically let him know that she the one who took the person out. And how do you live with yourself? Because that ain't the kind of person she is. She ain't never been the kind of person to do something like that. So how do you live with yourself? How do you sleep at night, get past nightmares, and all that after taking somebody's life, basically? And he said, it's hard. It's hard. But the way I look at it, the way I try to get forgiveness from the man above is I try to do good in somebody else's life if I can, like I'm doing with you. And as he says that to her, he puts his hand on her inner thigh, in between her legs, and pulls her face in and tries to kiss her. She like, no, man, that's not the kind of help I'm looking for. I said, fuck it, Mercedes. You supposed to get this D for all of us women that's lusting after this daggone man. What is wrong with you? But I know she's still reeling from all the stuff that's happened, because it's a lot of stuff that's happened. You know, the whole thing with Coach and Farrah and getting, swindled out of the money that he was, not swindled, but I wonder if they're going to come back. Are they going to be in episodes 9 or 10, the Coach and Farrah? Because something got to give. Like, that happened, the whole thing with Terica, her freaking arm, the murder of Montavious. It's just a lot going on. It's a lot in Mercedes' head. And I guess she just don't want to take this time to release some of that pressure on top of Maine, because I sure would have. Don't you remember the red light special video when T-Boss was like, baby, it's yours, with her legs, and she leaned back in that chair and did like this? That would have been me if Maine was rubbing up on my end of that. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna mince no words about it. Thomas Jones is fine. He is fine. Remember when he played the football player on Mary Jane, being Mary Jane, and she was messing with him, and he had epilepsy, and he had a seizure while they was in bed together. Remember that? I think that was the first thing I saw, man, and I thought he was fine in it. And then he was in LaToya Luckett music video a few years ago. He just fine. And I seen him and his other brothers that was in, they all both was in the NFL, and they was gonna say yes to the dress, and they took their sister to go find her wedding dress, and they bought their sister wedding dress for her, and I just was like, oh, he a good man to his sister, because we don't know how he is as a man in real life to a woman, but he just fine. He is my kind, I tell you. I always like the men that look like that. The words that just went through my head. I'll hold a brick for you, Daddy. So freaking wretched and ghetto. But that's the thought that just went through my mind about him. But anyway, he just fine. Sadie, you were supposed to get that D for all of us. For all of us. Release some tension, girl. You ever listen to that song by SWV? Release some tension. Pray for intermission. Soon me and you will start to kissing. Girl, then you'll see what you've been missing. What you've been missing. Damn it, Mercedes. Damn it. Fucked it up. For us. Anyway. God damn, this shit is an hour and 10 minutes. But Mercedes, you know better. You should have got it for all of us. So anyway, after that happens, we see the scene with Roulette and Whisper. Roulette and Whisper, I didn't even mean to save this to the end, but Roulette and Whisper, they at the hotel. Because Whisper has agreed to let the guy go down on her. They're in the hotel room. They taking bumps of coke. They getting high. They smoking weed. I forgot to mention that when they was in the dressing room with Keyshawn, they offered Keyshawn a bump. And Keyshawn said, no, I don't do that. She like so innocent in a sense. But, just like a little princess that's been taken care of her whole life by other people. But in reality, she was growing up, she was being taken care of by the daddy. But when she got pregnant by Derek and moved out with him, she be taking care of them. So, and that's all she knew was to take care of them, like, and take care of him like he was one of her kids too. So, but she's still real innocent in a sense, if you ask me. But anyway, Related was in the hotel. They doing bumps. They getting in, trying to get Whisper to relax and get herself together so she can do what she gonna do with this guy. So the guy comes and he looks at Roulette and was like, "Oh shit, nigga ain't never known to be do no threesome, but I could think I can handle the two of y'all." And she like, "Nigga, it ain't no buy one get one free. You getting just what the hell you said you was gonna pay for." Whisper on her back. So he said, "Oh, all right then, well, bye." She said, "Nigga, I'm not leaving. I'm staying here." Now, this whole time, when he first mentioned to Roulette that he wanted to do this to Whisper for this money, I thought Roulette said, "You gonna pay her 2 racks to lay there while you eat on her, and you only paid me 1 stack to suck your dick in the club?" And I felt like she was kind of jealous, so I thought that she was gonna set Whisper up and let Whisper get got by this guy. And this whole scene with them smoking the weed and all this, tell me this ain't give y'all Ronnie and Ebony in that fucking hotel room on the Players Club when she was talking to Ronnie. I mean, when Ronnie was talking Ebony into dancing for all them guys and for her brother. And there's no other girl was coming to dance for her brother, for Junior, but Ebony. And they was in the room and they was smoking and stuff. She was trying to get Ebony to relax. And then they all went, Ebony, they got everybody to go outside with Ron, no, Ice Cube, and Alex Williams, I think that's his name, that played that part. The two guys that they played to get the shit started, because they was doing what they had to do to get the people to come in there and find Dollar Bill. They got Ronnie to go outside and sit in the car, smoke some weed with them, and they told Junior that Ebony liked to give it up, and Junior went in there and raped Ebony. This whole scene was giving that vibe. I mean, even with Roulette having blonde hair, this scene, and in that scene on the Players Club, Ronnie had blonde hair too. But anyway, Whisper is laying on the bed. We see Whisper laying on the bed. She getting serviced. Roulette is in the bathroom playing some game on her phone. It's either Candy Crush, Jewel Tones, whatever them games are called. She playing one of them. You can see, we pan back to them in the room, and you can see that the guy is looking weird, like he up to some shit. He gets up, she get the moaning, and he gets up and he throw the fucking money that he's supposed to pay her. He throws it on the floor to be disrespectful towards her. And she like, damn. So she bends over and she picks the money up off the floor. And she said it's $200 missing. And they start yelling back and forth. And then that's when Roulette comes out of the bathroom. And he said, cause bitch, you don't know how to moan worth the damn. She said, I knew when you walked up in here, I already had the feeling that your mouth game wasn't going to be on nothing. That your oral was going to be on nothing. And you ain't never know how to make a woman's moan and delight from your mouth. I said, fuck. And that pissed him off because, a man in their fragile egos, he starts to choke her ass out. I said, oh, shit. Whisper grabbed the gun. Roulette grabs the gun, put the gun to his head, cocked it. Said, let her the fuck go. Let her go, nigga. She said, and what you gonna do? You gonna give her the other $200 that you're not gonna go back on this deal. So she said, Whisper, take his clothes off. So Whisper take his clothes off. She gets in front of him and said, you think I'm playing? She put the gun in his fucking mouth. She said, open wide. He said, bitch, you ain't gonna do nothing. She said, me and Death real good friends. And she cocks the gun. And she said, it's one bullet in here. She puts it to her head, go click. And of course she didn't shoot herself. It clicks though. Then she put it to him and she do it twice. It clicks, but he didn't get shot. So she come around to the front of him. She told him open wide. So he finally opened his mouth. He's scared. So he said, now, no, Roulette told him, now, you moan on this gun the way you wanted her to moan when you was going down on her, the way she should have been moaning. So he moaning and all that. She taking the back of his head and like, I'm going like this. She taking the back of his head and forcing his face up onto the gun like this. Like, who got the DSLs now, nigga? I said, oh shit. Because she felt the way about how he disrespected her about them DSLs and all that kind of stuff, how he did her in the club. And the fact that, again, you paid me 1 stack to suck it. And you paid her 2 stacks because of how she look at her complexion and the fact that she not black. You paid her 2 stacks to lay there while you ate it. So anyway, next thing you know, we see them run out the hotel room with his clothes and with the gun and everything. They run down and get in his car. He got a muscle car. He come out the room like, bitch, don't take my car, something. They get in his car and they pull off. Next thing you know, we see Roulette pull up to this garage. It's a chop shop. She pull in, we see Duffy. And we remember Duffy had been on the phone at some point on some of these episodes. He was on the phone with somebody. And they was on the phone with him about cars and chopping cars and all that shit. So she gets out and Duffy like, damn, look at that fine ass car. Where the fuck you get that from? So she said, don't worry about it. I got my ways or whatever. So he got her up like on a file cabinet and they kissing a little bit. And she like, yeah, I need you to bust it down, and I'll meet up with you tomorrow after you finish busting his car down. He like, I could bust down more than his car if you want me. She told him, boy, you don't even know what to do with these DSLs on my face. Never mind what this labia can do. I said, talk your talk. Talk your talk about yourself, girl. So he smiled like, and she gets off the car. She gets off the file cabinet and starts to walk out. And he goes over to the car, looks in the glove compartment. The registration is in there. And it's registered to a Terrence. I forget what the last name was. And he said, how you think Terrence so-and-so gonna feel about this? She said, I got it on not good advice. She said, I got it. Basically, I know he not gonna make a big deal about this. Basically. And so he like, all right. So she walks out into the rain. She opens up that gun again, looks at that one bullet, and looks at where the bullet was or whatever. And she just walk on off. Next thing we see is dark. We see Lord Murder walk up. We see a Mike standing there, sitting there. He take a toke, and just as he's about to spit some words, the episode goes off, and we see what's going to come up, what's going to happen in next week's episode. And that was P-Valley, the death drop. Y'all, I forgot to mention that Corbin mentioned the words death drop in his conversation with with Kyle. I mean, yeah, with his brother. I believe he mentioned the words "death drop." Golly, you know what I forgot to mention in this whole review? In this review, a whole hour and 20 damn minutes because I talk too much. But it was a scene where after she met up with Georgie, Autumn goes over to Andres and offers him, and went just before she came to the door. He was sitting in the house because Corbin gone already. She was Andre sitting in the house looking at the check. She had gave him a check for 10 racks, for $10,000, and for his campaign, and he was sitting there trying to think of what he was going to do with the check or whatever. And then that's when she rang the bell, and she said, "I bought you some moonshine," because she had seen the commercial on TV about his father and stuff. So they sitting on the floor and they drinking the moonshine, and they having a commercial. They having a conversation about their childhoods, their upbringing. And he was saying that, his mother died and his father was gone. All he basically had was Tydell, and he was ashamed of where he come from and what he had experienced, and that's why he never talked about his father. Who want to talk about that and let the world in on that? And she was just like, "Well, me, I don't even know who my father was." And I forgot what she said about her mom. So they kind of like relate to that, relate with each other on that kind of stuff. And then she gets up and crawls toward him, and she gets close to his face like she want to kiss. And he said, "Oh," she said, "What? You didn't enjoy what we did the other night?" He was like, "Yeah, I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy laying down with Lakeisha Savage and then waking up and Haley Colton was gone in the wind from my bed." I said, "Oh, so you want a little bit more than that? You don't want to just sleep with Lakeisha Savage at night, get that wild thing put on you, and her walk away in the morning like nothing. Like she here for a good time, not a long time, son. You gotta get that through your head. You ain't putting nothing down that's gonna want to make her stick around like that, like that. You know what I'm saying?" So he said something about, he mentioned the fundraiser, and that's when he clicked in her head, and she got an idea. She said, "Thank you, you gave me an idea." So she called somebody. I think she called Brazil and told her to meet her right now. And so she gonna try to raise money. She gonna try to do some kind of fundraiser, something to get money for the club or whatever, for Uncle Clifford is what I'm thinking or whatever. But yeah, that happened, and basically that's the end of the episode. I see y'all in the next one. I'm hoping that I get some views on this video and some likes, and get in the comments and say what you want to say about this review. I know it's super long, forgive me. Um, just what your predictions are for episodes 9 and 10. How do you think it's going to end? Do you think it's going to get renewed? Do you think Grandma Ernestine really going to die? Oh crap! Speaking of Grandma Ernestine, I ain't even. God, it's a lot of stuff I left out, and this review is so long. But let me mention this one last thing. Clifford goes to, after Clifford has the conversation with Corbin. Clifford goes to his mother's gravesite and cries and says, "Mama, I know it's been a long time since I've been here, and I reckon that's why you've been visiting me wherever I am, because I haven't been visiting you. But let me let you know why I haven't been here. Yeah, life got in the way and all that kind of stuff like that, but also I just didn't want to come and you I just didn't want to come knowing that I haven't done all I could. Things are going bad at the club going up on the auction block and all that kind of stuff." And he apologizing to his mother. Like, I feel like I messed up. Like, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. I haven't succeeded in keeping the club alive and all that kind of stuff. Basically, he down on himself. He also says, and he getting scared and he getting worried because he felt like Grandma Ernestine is slipping away and is on her way to meet up with her, and he will be down here by himself, and he ain't ready to miss his grandmother yet or whatever. So, and he has his, like, little, it's him by himself in his nighttime. He talking to his mother, and he got his same little outfit on that he had on when he went over there to see Corbin. It was like some patch printed kind of scarf, kimono, something he got wrapped around him with his little Ivy Park the rodeo collection denim shorts on. That's what he had on, with some over the knee boots that look like, what were those boots called that everybody had? The pointy toe high heel boots that look like a pair of Timbs. What was the Manolo Blahniks? So it was like a platform Manolo Blahnik version, a platform um thigh high version of the Manolo Blahnik boots that used to be popping back in the day. And I think like Jennifer I was about to say Jennifer Love Hewitt, Jennifer Lopez kind of like made them popping because she had them on in one of her videos. I'm just Jenny from the block. I think she had them on in that video. But yeah, that's it for this video. Please click the like and subscribe button if you haven't subscribed already. And again, I'm putting all this effort into doing this, giving y'all a nice video with all the details that I can remember. And I'm hoping that I get some views, some likes, and some discussion going. Come on, y'all, let's talk. You know P Valley's a good show. It's a damn good show. I'm super sad that J.L. Fawns and Jon Stewart, who played Lil Murda and Big T, wasn't eligible to be nominated for no Emmys. Because even in these 4 episodes that Big T was in, I think he was in 4 episodes, he did so much with that character in them 4 episodes. With the mental health and all that kind of stuff. It was just so much. Like, he deserves. J.L. Fawns deserves. The way that man can emote without saying a word, just by his facial expressions and stuff like that, non-verbal cues, that man deserves. But that's it, y'all. Peace.